should you get a lease or a car loan?
Yeah, so this is a good one, Corey. So Rachel has leased and she's buying right now in the process of making payments on a car. So I've had some experience with this in our household. And the overarching bottom line is, Corey, we've got to run the numbers because I can't just, and again, the point of this show is not to give advice, but I've got some general thoughts on leasing and I want to hear yours. There's pros and cons of both. This is a really good article. This is in the Wall Street Journal on the personal finance section. But in my opinion, Corey, it comes down to behavior. If you're the type of person, and we know who those people are out there, that are looking for a new car every few years, then I'd highly suggest you consider leasing. But if you're okay driving a car for at least 5, 10, or 20 years, then generally speaking, buying may make sense. And the reason is, Corey, cars depreciate, right? So if you are buying a new car every 3 years before you even pay it off, and typically car loans are higher than car leases, and that's what I'm getting at. So you may be able to lease a car for $400 a month, but if you're buying the car, you're paying $600 a month. So why not just lease it and know that you're always going to have a car payment? And you know what? You'll always have a brand new car or pretty new car, the latest technology. You don't have to worry about maintenance and so forth. So that's really the good favor for leasing. What I didn't like about leasing, when we turned Rachel's car back in, there's all these hidden fees. They supposedly found a scratch on the trunk, and I feel like they ding you for a lot. So I didn't like that about that process. So for me, we favor driving our cars a long time and buying them. But again, if you're the type of person that wants a new car, just likes it, and that's one of the things that you don't mind spending money on, then it may be okay. And again, ultimately comes down to your financial plan. Corey, you've leased. Are you leasing now?
I am.
Okay, so why don't you give your case for why do you keep leasing?
Yeah, so this is my third or fourth vehicle that I have leased.
No,
And yes,
no, it's not.
yes, it is.
Really? Okay.
Yes, yes, it is. It is the fourth, actually, now that I think about it. Now, one interesting point that you said about Rachel's car was, did you guys buy the car that she leased at the end of the lease? Okay.
No, we turned it back in. But we turned it back in, but we bought another car from the same manufacturer. So I don't know if that mattered or not, but we gave business. We just didn't turn it in and walk away. We were like, hey, we're going to turn this one in, but we want to buy a new one from you. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, and the reason that I asked that is I was wondering if that my experience has been from buying a car at the end of the lease is that they're far more, those aren't the hidden fees, and a lot of that can go out the window if ultimately you're interested in buying the car or leasing another one. But I do think that.
Well, isn't that what you, wait, isn't that what you did? So you were leasing, and didn't you buy that for your wife? And then you leased another one. So I bet they loved you, Corey.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they did. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my perspective on it really has been that, a lot of it comes down to one, cash flow, because I've worked with, and I have friends and know enough people that have, and my wife is actually one of these people. Her first car she got when she was 15 years old, and she drove it until she was 29. Her first car.
All right. Way to go, Cassie.
Which is great. Yeah, absolutely. So the way that she thinks about how long she's going to drive a car is much different than other people. And it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right.
But I also think mileage, how much someone's going to drive, very much impacts and factors into this as well. So that's my view on it. But I don't think it's again, not a one size fits all. It varies from person to person and what works for you and what makes the most sense.
So one other quick note, but I have a question for you. Then I want to make one more note. So are you going to buy your car at the end of this lease?
I'm undecided.
Okay.
Let's come back to that in the summer of 2024.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's coming up. All right. So one other point I wanted to make, now that interest rates are much higher, so that does factor into the equation a lot more than it did a couple of years ago. So you also want to shop around, whether it's at the dealership or credit union or banks, try to shop the rates if you are going to borrow money. Obviously, paying cash might be a better way to do things now. So again, you just want to meet with your wealth advisor and crunch the numbers. And, like we said, it ultimately comes down to cash flow and your financial plan in there. But don't fool yourself. If you're getting a new car every few years, leasing might be the way to go. And that's okay. Again, that's okay because you don't have to worry about your car. And it's just, you can think of it as an electric bill, an expensive one, but it's just it's a bill that you're going to pay every month for reliable new transportation. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as your financial plan can support it.
Exactly.